YouTube channel. My name is Berry, and today we're going to be watching the chaotic history of the horse game that took over the world. Umamusume Pretty Derby. I have played Umamusume. It's on my gaming channel if you would like to check it out. And hopefully this video explains everything that happened and not to lewd the horses. So away we go.
Meet Jiankui He, a Chinese scientist who had created a genetically modified baby, breaking every ethical law regarding genetic research and being sentenced to jail for 3 years back in 2019.
What?
After being
You can genetically alter babies? I had no idea we had IRL Spore.
released, he would somewhat disappear for a while until he got access to social media, most namely Twitter. And in classic supervillain fashion, he would tweet out, "Every pioneer or prophet must suffer,"
That is really scary.
while staring intently at the camera, all
Don't
while
look at me.
continuing his genetic research like nothing had happened.
No way. His bio says 3 years in prison. He turned that to clout quick.
This would, of course, make him go viral. But what were people's reactions here? Were they shocked? Were they outraged? Were they scared? No,
Probably
they
posting
kept
memes.
spamming him, pestering him even, with one request.
Uh-oh.
Eventually, there will be so many people requesting the
no.
same thing that he had to make an entire post responding to it.
ask for
saying,
the horse girls."
"Stop asking for cat girls. I'm trying to cure disease."
If you elect me for president, I will make it to where cat girls are real, and you will get a state-mandated cat girlfriend, so please vote.
This dude was sentenced to jail for creating genetically modified babies and forging the ethical paperwork. But the only thing people were concerned with was cat girls. Yeah, I mean, it comes as no surprise, guys. Anime girls have taken over the world. But look, if the movie Ratatouille has taught me anything in life, it's that things are better when combined together. And so some of the most intelligent people on planet Earth saw cats and thought, wow, this is really cute and adorable, like anime girls. Why don't we combine them and create cat girls?
What is this from? I'm sure one person in chat knows where this image spawned from. I have no idea.
The result? A massive success.
Yeah.
This, of course, made even more people think, until a particular group of people came up with a very interesting idea. They thought, well, look, humans love cats, right? I'm sure they love dogs too, but what's one animal that's been with us since the beginning? An animal humans share a very important bond with.
Ants.
Horses.
Oh. I forgot the point of the video. I was thinking Chimera Ant Arc IRL.
So listen to this genius idea, right? What if we took anime girls and gave them horse ears and horse tails? Then we would put all these cute anime horse girls together on a track and have them race just like horses do during horse races. But get this, okay? Things don't end here because these horse girls are living a double life. When they're not racing on the horse track, they're idols, dancing and singing in top-tier performances to a massive audience.
Well, this is kind of just like Japan moment, right? Like, everybody loves an idol girl. She can sing, she can dance, she got booba, and it's like swanging around. It's great.
Sounds absolutely insane, right? I mean, seriously, horse girls, anime horse girls racing on a track. You've got to be shitting me, man. The concept of gacha games is already niche. And horse girls in a gacha game, you won't find anyone to play this. Nope, I was severely wrong. Look at this chart just on Steam.
Look at
with
this
a peak
graph.
of 87,000 people playing at the same time. That's not all, though. The game hasn't even been out for 1 month globally and has already reached over 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store. Still not surprised? The game has gotten so popular on Steam that it has beaten every single game on the platform to claim the #1 spot for most downloaded games in this current period.
Guys, I have something to admit. I said when the game dropped, I will not spend money. Then Kita-san Black came out. I spent $170 for two.
Now you might be thinking, okay, fine, maybe it's like this mass hysteria going on. Maybe this concept is so ridiculous people downloaded it, but then realized, it's not really for me, right? Look at these reviews. 94% very positive with almost 15,000 reviews on Steam. This game didn't just get downloaded a lot, it's now critically acclaimed. But if you're still somehow not shocked yet, well, get this. Gacha games are typically liked by very...
Thank you! Wait, Desayunos. Wait, is that like breakfast? Thank you, Desayunos. Thank you. Give me a great view in the chat. Thank you so much. See, this is that the girl from Lucky Star? Lucky Star was like the first anime I ever watched. And I watched it at my friend's house. Okay, this is actually kind of scary lore. She had a movie room because she was very rich. Her parents were very rich. And she put the Lucky Star opening on the screen in the movie room. And we practiced the dance. And I know the Lucky Star dance.
Specific demographic, young adults who usually love anime. When it came to this horse girl gacha racing game though, it reached children, their parents, and their grandparents.
Don't say anything, I'm only 28.
Doing the impossible and targeting every single conceivable demographic. Guys, it doesn't matter where you go. The metro, the airport, your office, you will most likely see someone playing this on their phone. I say this with no exaggeration.
I play at the gym.
Umamusume Pretty Derby has taken over the planet. And I haven't seen a gacha game do this since Genshin Impact back during the pandemic. But if this still doesn't shock you for whatever reason...
Or Pokemon Go. Every time I think of like big game, I always think Pokemon Go. It was a huge cultural phenomenon.
And get ready to get sucker punched in the face, because that's exactly what happened to me when I started seeing headlines like this. Umamusume developer Cygames is a title sponsor for Grand Prix de Paris, a prestigious horse racing event founded in 1863. An event being held for almost 2 centuries. And their logo just happens to be on an image of an anime girl that is also a horse.
Also, I would like to say for people who are new to gacha games, you are very lucky in Cygames. They are the most generous company of all time. If they sneeze out 9 million carats. It was the same way. I used to play a game called Dragalia Lost. They gave out stuff every maintenance. They are super, super, super giving.
What the fuck is going on? And how did we get here? Well, none of it was straightforward, and this game almost failed to release. Umamusume Pretty Derby has a somewhat chaotic but also very interesting history. And seeing how it's practically dominated the world, I figured we need to talk about it. So let's do this. Man, horses are such silly animals. But you know what other animals I like? Warships, warplanes, and war tanks, baby. And the best part about this is that I can find all these vehicles and 2,500 other variations in War Thunder. A vehicle combat game so comprehensive in details that it has over 70 million players on all platforms, including PC, consoles, and mobile devices.
And your Samsung fridge. Also, isn't there a game where the anime girls are ships? I thought I remembered somebody in my lecture playing that when I was in college.
These vehicles are as detailed as possible, and they span multiple eras. You can then customize these vehicles to your liking. This leads us to my favorite thing about War Thunder, the fact that there are no simple hitboxes. Every vehicle has engines, fuel tanks, weapons, and crew. That's the level of detail we're dealing with here. But wait, it gets better, because if you're a new player or a returning player who hasn't played the game in over 6 months, you get free premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions, 7 days of premium account, and much more available for PC and consoles. So if you're interested, make sure to get the game for free by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you so much, War Thunder, for sponsoring this video. Alright guys, by now, you know the drill. To really understand the significance of all this, we need context. And in this case, it's going to be a little history lesson. And we're going all the way back to the year 1603, the beginning of the Tokugawa period, otherwise known as the Edo period. This period would be the most traditional period in Japan, mostly because it would be incredibly isolated from the rest of the world. The people in power at the time feared outside influence. In fact, their biggest fear was Christianity. You'd have
Oh, I thought he said Christian. I was like, oh my god, everybody got a Sonichu medallion.
missionaries from European countries come in to spread the gospel, and people were converting fast. The Japanese leaders saw this as a way for Europe to slowly take control of Japan, so they took extreme measures. They completely locked down the country except for a select few traders who only had access to specific ports. Japanese people were not allowed to leave Japan, and if they did, they wouldn't be allowed back. And more importantly, Christianity was outlawed. The shogunate took extreme measures and massacred over 37,000 Japanese Christians, making it go almost extinct in Japan and ruling for over 2 centuries. This would all change in 1868, when the Tokugawa shogunate would lose its power and the Meiji Restoration would take its place. One could say that this period was the opposite of the Tokugawa shogunate's military rule, completely opening up the country, technologically advancing very quickly, and fully embracing the idea of an industrialized nation that can compete with Europe and North America.
When do I get to kiss the horse?
That way, they don't face the threat of colonization. During this new era, you'd start seeing more foreigners in Japan, like British and Americans, specifically around port towns. Their numbers would start becoming significant to the point where they'd start having their own communities built around those port towns. This is where, to kill time, Westerners would start playing the sports they knew, like rugby, cricket, and of course, baseball.
Baseball! I don't really like baseball. I just like drinking beer and eating a hot dog.
Which is now the most popular sport in Japan today. But according to the...
What is the name of that guy in Japan? He's like super crazy good at baseball. I just remember I saw his face everywhere. I would walk around, his face would be on like the wall. I would walk, yeah, Otani. He has so many advertisements. It's actually crazy.
500-page book titled Routledge Companion to Sports History, which outlines the origins of sports all around the world. Horse racing in Japan was introduced as early as 1862 by those same Westerners. And within just 8 years, the first jockey club in Kobe was formed in 1870. You see, the Japanese, much like the rest of the world, also had a special connection to horses. They also loved the idea of entertainment. So they latched onto the sport very quickly, as you can see from this old drawing. Japanese people are on their horses about to race, but the people organizing it can be seen on the left here. And they're foreigners, they're Westerners. Today, it's seen as a prestigious sport, with the Japan Cup having some of the highest prize pools on the planet, and the Japanese taking the sport very seriously, wanting to compete on even footing with foreign horses. Right now, the prize pool for the Japan Cup is about $8.3 million.
It's that much? I had no idea you made that much money racing. I guess, so they like take a percentage of the losses and give it to the winner? Is that how it works? I don't know. I really haven't gambled that much. The only gamble I ever did was like slots sometimes, but that's just because, you know, big iPad, and I'm kind of an iPad kid, so yeah.
First place claiming $3.8 million. And even though horse racing was seen as such an important sport in Japan, there was a problem. Interest was kind of waning. When you go to a horse track, you'd mostly see men who are in the older demographics. You wouldn't see teenagers, young adults, kids, or even women that
here we go.
In a way, if things kept going this way, then the sport would have probably died out in a couple of generations.
Also, Japan does have the advantage of horse gamba pretty much being like only legal gamba other than like pachinko. Because you can still go and bet on horses and stuff like that, but there's like no casinos or anything. Like there's no blackjack. I've never seen that, but they're probably maybe like underground or something, but this is like legal gamba.
It was simply seen as too old-fashioned. But all of this would change when a particular studio came up with a ridiculous idea. An idea, actually, that almost ruined their company's reputation and potentially could have bankrupted them. I'm of course talking about Umamusume Pretty Derby.
Yay!
Cyber Agent is a Japanese company that was founded in 1998. They started out as a digital advertising company, but in 2011, they decided to expand in the ever-growing video game market. This is when they would create Cygames, a video game development studio. Cyber Agent would own the majority of the shares of Cygames, but sell a few to other companies, like for example, Nintendo, who owns 5% of Cygames. They would go on to create some pretty well-received games, like Shadowverse, a digital collectible card game, and of course, Grand Blue Fantasy, which was critically acclaimed. But arguably, Cygames' most important game would end up being one of the first ones they'd ever release in 2011, titled The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls.
I didn't know they also made Idolmaster. The first gacha I ever spent money on was Love Live. I don't know who owned Love Live, but I played that game in college.
This game would be a part of the massive franchise known as the Idolmaster, owned by Bandai Namco, with the first ever game coming out in 2005. Many games for this franchise would release, and in 2011, that's when Cygames would release the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. They made this on behalf of Bandai Namco. What was special about this game is that it was made for mobile phones back in 2011.
Mobile phone market in Japan is actually OP. I have never seen that many people play mobile games because when you're on the train, there's nothing else to do. Like you just sit there, you can, I guess, like read Reddit or something. I don't know. But in the US, like, people are driving. Like, there's not really a lot of, like, free time to be on your phone. So a lot of people play mobile games.
Namco was seeing the rise of mobile games, and so that's when they asked Cygames to help. The premise was simple. You'd collect a bunch of idol girls and you would train them, raising their stats through lessons. You would then be able to do a number of things like customize their outfits and even spend money on cosmetics. There would also be many different minigames, including a multiplayer game mode where you can fight other players.
Yes! I love PvP, but the only reason I like PvP is because I like to know that I'm a better gamer than somebody else. It's like an ego rush.
With the most stats wins. Overall, it was simple, but extremely successful. This game was earning more than 1 billion yen a month. Back then, that was around $13 million.
A month? Holy crap! That is a lot of money!
It was revealed that more than 75% of players who got the game chose to pay for either...
75% of people! So it's not even like one guy with like a huge credit card. That is really big. 75% is insane. Imagine if 75% of people watching this video right now subscribe to twitch.tv/BerryCrepe. Shameless.
In-game items or energy in order to play more. And according to this article, in August 2012, the game had made 9 million USD, which is more than the cost of developing the game.
Wow,
this game was making more money
printer.
monthly than it cost to make. And all it did was just feature a bunch of idols that
Concord watching this video.
you trained, up their stats, and got them different outfits. But you see, Bandai Namco is truly taking this franchise to the next level. It started as an arcade game, they made a mobile game, and they also made a manga as well as an anime that adapted that same manga. They were essentially using this franchise to build a media empire, and it was working very damn well.
Cute girls.
They would continue to hire more developers to create more entries in this franchise, and the most recent release would be in 2024, so it's still doing pretty damn well. This is when Cygames would have some sort of an epiphany. Even though this was owned by Bandai Namco, they were the ones who made this extremely successful epiphany. Even though this was owned by Bandai Namco, they were the ones who made this extremely successful game. And I mean, it made sense. Why wouldn't a game like that be a success? The idol industry in Japan is probably one of the biggest, most successful industries in entertainment.
Yeah, because like basically you pick like your favorite girl and then you want your favorite girl to succeed and it's awesome and you cheer them on and it feels good. Also, I love baby metal.
It involved finding someone young with talent, absolutely destroying their lives with ridiculously rigid training and extremely unrealistic expectations, and once they get enough popularity, this is when you would milk their fans with a bunch of different media and merchandise.
I went to one idol concert and it was awesome. I got my pen light and I was like, yeah.
People will do anything for their idols. They'll literally buy a photo album of them.
Yeah, they have those at
This
Donkey.
is why the idol industry is such a money printing machine. But here's a fun fact for you. When it comes to horse racing in the West, certain jockeys, who are the horse riders, might have fans. Sure,
they do?
The horses that they ride also might have fans, but it wasn't anything crazy. In Japan, on the other hand, the horses had fans, all right. They had their own merch. They were recognized by name.
Wow.
Some even had superstitions made around them.
I follow Haru Urara on Twitter, and I think it was just her birthday. How old did she turn? It was like 30, I think. She's really old, and I think you can also like send her grass and stuff. So a lot of people have been buying her food.
I mean, this is just a talent Japanese people have to idolize anything they like. And as much as this sounded ridiculous, there was big market potential here. Cygames had made a very successful idol game, and yet horse racing was a deeply historical aspect of Japanese culture while also having those same idol traits.
Yeah, like basically anything mascot sells like crazy, right? Like Snoopy is cool. I even went to the Snoopy Cafe. Snoopy's awesome. I'm trying to think of like other mascots that do good. Yeah, Chikawa. Basically anything cute and small.
You know what else is interesting? When it comes to entertainment, the idol industry is very profitable, sure. But one thing Japanese people love to do is gamble, baby. A Japanese person not knowing pachinko is like an American not knowing what a burger is.
I accidentally walked into one of like the pachinko places in Japan and everybody looked at me like with daggers. I was like, damn, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I turned around and walked out.
At this point, it's practically cultural. I mean, look, it goes without saying that horse racing was very popular in Japan because of the whole gambling aspect of it. And now you can gamble on a simulated horse race. It's not even real. And you place your bets on this spaceship-looking machine, bro. This looks insane. That's how much they love it. And finally, just like how idols and gambling are huge in the entertainment industry in Japan, we can't forget to talk about anime. And in the early 2000s, many artists were having...
I'm sorry, I had to pause just because she is so cool. And now you can guess who I'm pointing at just based on vibes.
The amazing idea of giving anime girls cat ears or just small animal features. Not to mention that there were already examples in media taking this a step further. Instead of giving them animal features, they would give them features of objects, like how the game Azur Lane.
Wow, my God! I think I have mommy issues. Holy thighs and the feet! Guys, this is a very weird fact about me. Most of the time, if I commission something, I look to see if they're really good at drawing. And the way that I look to see if they're good at drawing is if they're good at making feet. So I actually commission a lot of foot fetish artists because they're very, 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 very good at anatomy.
Has you collect these hot anime women that are meant to be World War II battleships. I'm not even joking, bro. Look, this woman's called Azuma, and she's part of the large cruiser category.
Holy crap. You know she got that junk in the trunk.
She's stationed in the camp Sakura Island. This is meant to be a battleship, bro, like an actual boat, you understand? And man, does she have some big cannons, let me tell you that much.
Wow!
So I don't know who the genius at Cygames was, bro. It could be the CEO, it could be a producer. Someone had the brilliant idea to sit everyone down and say, hey, what if we combined all these elements together, right? For the gambling, we make a gacha game. For the anthropomorphic cat girl part, we make horse girls.
Cute.
And for the idol part, we base them off the most famous horses in Japan, while also making them sing and dance, because why not?
Yeah.
Now, be honest, if you were one of those people listening to this pitch, would you have signed off on this? Because it obviously sounds ridiculous, right?
What does this say? Umamusume creators be like, let's create a masterpiece of a story based on real life horse racing lore, but with cute anime girls instead of horses. Also, they sang after the race. Well, because you can also sell CDs, right? Like, it's all like super merch, which is why I'm so bad at watching movies now. Like, I just watched the new Jurassic Park movie. I guess it's like Jurassic World something, yada, yada, yada. And you can tell where product placement is because the cute little dinosaur, I'm like, okay, they're trying to sell dinosaur stuffed animals, aren't you? Someone's trying to sell me something.
Most people probably wouldn't have, but Cygames had top-tier drugs in their office because you know what? They said yes. They then wasted no time getting started on developing the game, revealing it for the first time on the 21st of August 2016 at the Anime Japan Expo. Excitement for this game was actually already starting to build up, and that made more people want to know more details about Umamusume. So on January 2017, the main content producer of Cygames, Akihiro Ishihara, was asked a bunch of different questions during an interview, and one of them was, please tell us about the development status. And he said, this game is about 25% complete. Keep that number in mind.
Okay.
But for now, this interview had also revealed many of the horse girl designs, as well as the famous horses they're based on.
And it's good because I think they filled out pretty much every trope, right? Like, you got smart girl, you have cute girl, you have sassy girl, you have sad girl, you have emo girl. They basically filled every single niche of woman.
It seemed like they knew what they were doing. And they had learned their lessons with Bandai Namco. They were going the Idolmaster route, not just aiming to make one good game, they wanted to make a media empire around Umamusume. So just a couple months after that interview in March 2017, they released a manga. But they weren't done yet because they wanted to adapt this manga into an anime and were going to enlist the studio PA Works to do it. The plan was to release this anime in 2018 in parallel to the game's release. That way both would help each other and they would start off with a strong symbiotic media empire.
I saw Monka ass in chat. This can't be good.
That was the plan, except nothing, and I mean nothing in regards to release dates went according to plan. The Umamusume Pretty Derby anime would release on April 1st, 2018. It wasn't just limited to Japan, it had a simulcast with Crunchyroll in select regions of the world.
Whoa.
It was almost an instant success. Similarly to how people love the idea of cat girls, the idea of horse girls was also very well received. But
And I think Yeah, because they can basically make fun of themselves, which I think is good. If you're gonna have something so otherworldly like horse girls, you have to like at least poke fun at it, and that makes it enjoyable for the audience. Like, it's not serious.
A couple of aspects that it was really praised for were, one, its attention to detail, and two, its very skilled world building. But we'll get to that later. Right now, there's a more pressing concern going on. As the anime was running, the game would release 3 more teasers on April 19th. It showcased a race, a live show, and a story/training section. I can't show you those videos because they've been privated.
Oh, that always happens.
But overall, it seemed like everything was going according to plan, with the game scheduled to release around the end of 2018. This would be confirmed again on July 2018, with yet another trailer showing off the game and its mechanics, announcing at the end that it was going to release at the end of 2018.
It kind of came a long way.
Wondering when the game was going to come out, Cygames took their sweet time and only announced on December 15th, 2018, literally the end of the year, that Umamusume Pretty Derby has been delayed in order to raise the game's quality.
But that's not bad. I would rather play a game that is really good and in a playable state than some garbage because they wanted to just put it out quick. That is a good decision. That's way better.
Saying that they will reveal the new release period at a later date.
Like, that doesn't make me mad as a consumer.
Not a big deal. I mean, it would have been nice if you told us earlier, but one delay doesn't hurt, especially if the game's going to be better for it, right? Well, the game got delayed again in 2019. And the new release date was slated to be in 2020. Now, Cyber Agent is a publicly listed company, and just like any publicly listed company, they would have shareholder meetings. So in their third quarter shareholder meeting in 2020, they re-emphasized to their investors that Umamusume Pretty Derby
Project Sekai is like one of my favorite games to play on the iPad. Yes, I am an iPad kid. Yes, I like playing games on my iPad, and I like Project Sekai. But also, that's such a hard thing to tell shareholders and investors because they want to make their money now. That is really hard to convince them to just be patient and to wait.
Was going to be released in 2020, confirming that fact. Just a couple of months earlier, in May 2020, the managing director of Cygames confirmed yet again that Umamusume Pretty Derby was releasing in 2020. But then, we got to December 2020 and the game was nowhere to be found. But yet again, in the final shareholder meeting of the year on December 12th, investors would be told that this game is still on track to release in 2020, but there were 2 weeks left in the year. It was
people. Oh, cute. I don't know. For some reason, I like looking at people's Twitters because I feel like I get a look inside their brain.
Safe to say that after previous delays, people weren't just thinking, oh, this game's going to be delayed again. They were also thinking, is this game ever going to release? How can you say in an interview in the beginning of 2017 that the game's almost 25% done with a 2018 release date, and yet here we are 2 years later, barely able to make the release? Usually this means that the game has no direction. That's
You know what? Why don't we go ask Yandere Dev what happened? 2 years ain't that bad. 2 years ain't that bad.
Games is dealing with an internal disaster. And what really reinforced this narrative is the fact that the game didn't even come out in 2020. We had reached 2021 and the game still had not released yet. It was only on February 24th, 2021 that the game had finally released in Japan.
Wow.
And while it was cool that the game had finally come out, people didn't really know whether to be excited or worried. Especially with how Cyberpunk 2077 had released just a couple months earlier, and even though it's been delayed multiple times, had one of the worst launches in history.
I streamed this game when it first came out, and everything was clipping. My computer exploded 3 times. I was baking cookies on top of that shit. Like, this game was a bad launch.
But you know what?
I've heard it's good now, though.
As hard as it was to believe, this was not the case with Umamusume Pretty Derby. People were so addicted to the damn thing, they couldn't stop playing. The gameplay loop definitely took inspiration from their work on Idolmaster. Your horses, or horse anime girls, would have 5 different stats that you would train them on. You'd also have many different minigames and many ways to interact with your roster. You would then have your horse, or horse girl, race, competing against others in a bid to win first place. These races would make your heart beat like crazy because there was always a chance that one of the horse girls could use a special ability, including your own, like you're seeing right here. You could be losing a race, and then your horse will, all by themselves, decide to do this in order to win.
I've been training Goldship at the gym, and basically Goldship just decides when she wants to race. And when I'm on the treadmill, I do like a career to get me through it because I hate running and I hate doing incline walk. And I have like been playing the game and you get so invested. I'll be there, I'll be like, ah! Then the guy next to me goes, what the hell is her problem? I'm like, she didn't ult! She didn't ult!
depends on their mood and how you've treated them. One could even say that this was more exciting than IRL horse racing. Mood and how you've treated them. One could even say that this was more exciting than IRL horse racing.
True.
Thanks to all these factors.
And because they're cute girls. Everybody likes cute girls.
But the game wasn't over with just one horse girl. Eventually, that horse girl would retire, just like IRL horses, kicking off the inheritance mechanic, just like real life. Here's an example. This is the family tree of the very famous horse, Goldchip. As you can see, this is probably more complex than my own family tree, and I'm a human. It rivals the family tree of like some royalty from the 1600s or something. This is all done with the goal of creating the most genetically engineered monster that can dominate any race. And that's what you kind of do in Umamusume as well. The hard work that you put into your now retired horse girl can now be incorporated into your new horse girl by using her as one of her coaches. So
I always thought that it meant that they were like the mommy and the daddy. But I think they're supposed to be friends.
in a way, you also become more of a genetic scientist and try to create the perfect horse girl after many different runs. This gameplay loop was so addicting, it was like playing a civilization game, screaming one more turn as the police is confiscating your phone from you because you haven't eaten in 3 days.
I've never played a Civ game. Are they actually fun? I just get scared because I feel like I would do everything wrong and then the entire world would set on fire and it'd be all my fault. It is fun. I kind of want to try it.
People couldn't stop playing it. But as this game became so popular in Japan, it started somewhat suffering from success, you could say. You see, usually, the people who own some of the best racehorses in the world happen to be some very wealthy and successful people.
Well, yeah, you gotta pay for the baby batter. I'm sure Goldchip's baby batter is like $2 million.
Seeing that Umamusume's characters are based on real-life horses, they had to go and ask each of these owners their permission to have them in the game.
Oh, wait, is he getting to the lewds? I hope he mentions don't lewd the horses.
The owners agreed to do that free of charge, not charging any money. This was seen as a very cool and kind gesture from them.
Yeah,
But
they're
here's
rich.
the
What do they
thing,
care?
these
Kate-san!
weren't just horses. These were anime girls that were, in many cases, pretty. And usually when you present Japan with a pretty anime girl, they will instinctively almost want to draw some pretty lewd fan art.
And it's insane how accessible it is. I think there's a place called, I think it's called Melon Books. And this arcade that I used to go to all the time to go play Street Fighter Third Strike was on top of Melon Books. And one time I went down there and literally everybody who's ever been invented in the entire world was looted.
That was a problem. Cygames knew it was a problem, so they created very specific fan-created content guidelines, outlining rules, saying you can't make fan art with the intent to injure the reputation of this franchise or other third parties.
Yeah.
You can't do any loot stuff, you can't do any violent stuff. The owners of these horses did not want to see their horses participate in anything like that. It was a red line for them, but that's
like their kid. That's their baby.
Didn't necessarily make people want to listen. Now, of course, usually if you were to break these rules, Cygames would just send you a takedown notice and sue you if you don't comply.
Oh,
but of course, this would be too boring for a franchise like Umamusume. So some people
So what they do is they take a horse, release it in your house, and let it destroy all of your possessions.
came up with a rumor that now is regarded as truth in many different circles and has spread like wildfire.
Oh, is this the
If
Yakuza?
you draw any lewd art of Umamusume girls, the Yakuza will knock on your door and hurt you.
I was scared in Japan when I would stream. I would sometimes play Nintendo music in the background, and every single time I would turn around and make sure they weren't watching.
Okay, so as far as I can tell, this all started with this stupid tweet. A Japanese person tweeted this out, saying, the reason why Japanese artists can't draw Umamusume porno art is that Umamusume is based on real racehorses and their owners are like mafia bosses who control the Japanese economy and we don't want to offend them.
I don't know if this is
was
true.
tweeted on March 11th, 2021.
Maybe.
So very shortly after the game released. Now, I don't know how much attention this initial tweet got, but what really brought attention to this was the second tweet this person would make, saying, please retweet as much as you can for people overseas. It included that original tweet and another image, with that person saying, the content of the tweet and the image is complete bullshit. It is a falsehood that amounts to defamation of the racehorse owners. I have insulted the owners of racehorses and other people involved in horse racing, as well as the staff of the Umamusume project.
They shut him up quick. Oh my god, they were gonna make a horse eat his carrot.
Racehorse owners are people who are sincerely committed to the culture of horse racing. They are not involved in antisocial organizations.
Wow.
In addition, I tried to make overseas artists complicit in the prohibition of secondary works that significantly worsen the image of the project, which is clearly stated in the official guidelines. This is all due to my short-sightedness and arrogance. I would like to express my deepest apologies to everyone involved and to all those who have supported me. So this apology was definitely overkill to the initial tweet. It was clearly like some kind of a joke, I guess. It was almost like this person had, I don't know, murdered someone. This made people assume that this person got caught by the Yakuza and forced, right?
Yeah, he's typing that at gunpoint. That is kind of scary.
At gunpoint to make this apology, because that's what it sounds like. As you can see here, the top comment is, "So they found you?" And the person said, "No, it's not. It's just that I made the wrong statement."
Yeah. We know. It's okay. We're here for you.
Someone else said, "I'm guessing they gave you a call." To which this person said, "No, it doesn't." Someone said, "I'm sorry to hear that the racehorse mafia got to you. Had no idea Japan even had such an intense culture of racehorsing, let alone one run by gangsters."
His reply is going to be, "Nay, that's not true."
And that person replied with, "Please don't tell us such bullshit." This person was so easy to troll. And this eventually got posted on Reddit, ironically saying, "Turns out old-fashioned Yakuza are alive and well in Japanese horse racing industry. They are sending goons to stop doujin artists from making drawings of Umamusume project characters." All of these events have resulted in this becoming a full-fledged meme. Whenever someone mentions, "Man, I'd love to draw these characters in lewd poses," someone always comes in and comments, "Hey man, you don't want to do that. The Yakuza's gonna get you." And while it's funny, it's gotten a lot of people to actually believe it, especially overseas. But the truth is that Yakuza doesn't own any of the horses, and that gambling is heavily regulated by the JRA, the Japanese Racing Association. So no, if you draw lewd art, the Yakuza aren't going to knock on your door, but you might get a DMCA notice from a lawyer. No! But regardless, Yakuza hiccups aside, this game...
Lawyers in the US are like the Yakuza of the US. You don't want to mess with them. They'll take everything you own.
was making bank. In 2021 alone, even though they released 1 month after the year had began in February, they had made over $1 billion.
Wow!
And by March 2025, they had made a total of $2.5 billion since release. This is an insane amount of money, but what's even more insane is that 90% or more of its revenue came purely from Japan.
Yes, this is like the top grossing gacha game in Japan. It prints money. It's insane.
Cygames had the Japanese population in its chokehold. And as I mentioned, these weren't just young adults. There would be endless stories of people going on the metro, going to a restaurant, going outside, and seeing someone way older than them or way younger than them playing this game on their phone. It became cultural. But here's the thing.
Somebody in chat said, speaking of lewd art, there's a lot of lewd art of Berry and other VTubers. Not of me. You know you made it when someone draws you lewd.
Japan, even though open to the rest of the world, still has a very particular market. Just because something is successful there does not mean in any way that it'll be successful anywhere else, especially when it comes to the topic of gacha games. So when it came to finally launching the game globally on June 26, 2025, more than 4 years after launching it in Japan, people didn't really know what to expect. It was reasonable to think that it was going to just die out in a few months, with Japan continuing to be its main revenue source. Except what it did was inconceivable. It was absolutely dominating the Steam charts. As you saw in the intro, it became the #1 most downloaded game on...
Seeing it next to Counter-Strike is making me laugh. Imagine there's like Umamusume girls in Counter-Strike.
on Steam at some point, also becoming an instant success on mobile. But what's really interesting here is that it managed to recreate exactly what happened in Japan, but globally, which was not having a target demographic, reaching everyone equally. Here's a fun example.
Northern Lion just staring into my soul is making me laugh. Also, isn't that the edit of him where it says +50 energy underneath of it?
Northern Lion is a streamer who's 36 years old. He would not, in any way, be the target demographic of a game like Umamusume Pretty Derby. No way in hell. But his chat kept pestering him, please download the game, give it a shot, for the love of God, you'll love it. And eventually, he gave in. Now, Northern Lion is a pretty big streamer. He'll usually average around 15,000 viewers. But when he streamed Umamusume, he had reached his all-time peak of 40 100,000 live viewers.
People love the horse game. My biggest stream on YouTube was Umamusume. And it was like a lot of JP people asking why we all like Daiwa Scarlet. I was like, I don't know, but she's sassy. She's kind of like a Dami Mommy. And he said, what's a Dami Mommy? Can you explain? I was like, oh no, I'm corrupting the JP audience. I can't explain to you what that is. Just Google it. Just Google it.
And you know what the craziest part is? He absolutely loved it. Okay,
Yes.
He fell in love with the game, the characters, everything. He even had Japanese players seeing some of the reactions from Western players thinking, wow, we gotta up our game because these guys are way more passionate than us. Look at this.
Come on, Gold Ship, put it into high gear. I need all you got right now. The Kentucky Derby's on the line.
Dang, he's spanking himself.
It was, with no exaggeration, taking over the entire internet. And it showed in the stock price of Cyber Agent, the parent company of Cygames, with its stock market price going up like crazy. But why is that? How is this
Stonks.
game such a success, so highly rated, both in Japan and overseas?
Because you feel emotionally invested. When my horse wins, I go, that's my daughter. That's my daughter. I knew you could do it.
We've established that the gameplay loop is fun, sure, but there are a lot of games like that. This isn't just a game at this point, it's a cultural phenomenon. So what was something that it did that other games weren't even close to achieving?
And the funny thing, I think about it, the more I play it, this is actually just like a roguelike.
Well, the horses. Alright, so remember how I mentioned that this game's anime was praised for having immense attention to detail and world building? Well, the game was very similar in that regard too. Seeing that all these anime horse girls were based on real-life horses,
Aww.
Cygames did their homework and examined every single horse and its very specific personality, incorporating all these aspects into their anime character. But that's not all. When it comes to the world of Umamusume, many things in there were based on real-life locations, like racetracks and areas around it. We're talking anything from train stations to the convenience store where the horse girls buy their carrots. This wasn't just attention to detail, this was making landmarks out of IRL locations.
People love that. Like, there's lines to take pictures on the your name steps. I remember there was a line outside the KFC one time. I was like, why are there so many people here? I looked it up. It was the KFC where Gojo and that other guy broke up. People love IRL stuff. It's crazy.
And attributing important history to them. Additionally, this world wasn't just made in like one evening. It made sense, and that's because its world building was very well made. Horse girls in this world are seen as a different type of species. They're treated as well as humans, there's no discrimination, and instead they have a real place in this world. With certain gadgets, for example, made specifically for them. Look at this extremely long phone. It's to accommodate her horse ear and her mouth. I mean, look at this stupid seat.
I've never seen this. I have never seen her tail poke out the side. That's pretty funny.
Right here. It's made specifically for horse girls so that they don't get uncomfortable with their tails. There's even historical landmarks in the anime, like how there are Moai statues on Easter Island with horse girls.
Wait, I remember when people used to spam this emote all the time.
They even took famous Japanese horse racing paintings and converted them to accommodate the world. As you can see, these are horse girls racing here. So from a world
that's
point of view,
cute.
this already made sense. The attention to detail was
Statue
there.
of
And so when it came to
Liberty.
the actual personalities of each horse, guys, they couldn't have done a better job. For example, one of the most famous horses in
Goldship.
Japanese racehorsing history is Goldship. This is a horse who ran 28 races and won 13 times. An
Wow.
incredible record. But what really made Goldship famous is that he was an absolute diva with the ridiculously unique and rage-baiting personality. In 2015, Goldship had a total of 12 billion yen betted on him.
I just kind of want to acknowledge this for a second because I think it's funny. In his research for this video, his algorithm got absolutely cooked. Look at all of these Umamusume videos.
People were confident that he would win just like he won his other races. What we got instead was the day known as the 12 billion yen incident,
Uh-oh.
when he would do this. Watch.
He's aura farming.
He would simply refuse to race. Everyone would go except him. He didn't care. He just didn't feel like it, and so he didn't race, losing people 12 billion yen in bets. Now, this is how Goldchip would look in the game and in general in the Umamusume universe. They would recreate the same incident in the anime
That's
series.
so cool.
Watch. And just so
To be fair, when I play the game, I literally farm late starts with Goldchip. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's accurate, right? Every time. Late start, late start, late start. Goldchip, why?
you know, they brought back the same exact woman who was casting that day to voice in the anime. Guys, the attention to detail is ridiculous.
That's real? Holy crap, I had no idea. They're very accurate. That's awesome.
So seeing that Goldchip was an absolute diva,
Oh my
yet
God,
at the
I see
same
that a
time very
lot.
skilled, Cygames made sure to incorporate that into Umamusume Pretty Derby. She'd be very skilled, very talented, and yet would have crazy mood swings, refusing to train, and
Yeah.
sometimes, even though having the best stats, would just refuse to race. Like, they're not giving a single shit. This eccentric personality.
Oh, chat, you can spoil it. When do we get the outfits like that? I don't know. Do we already have them? I have no idea. I just roll for support cards all the time. These outfits are so cute.
Would so accurately be translated into the game that it would create a new overseas fan club for this IRL horse. I mean, look at this. This is a video of Goldchip in retirement, literally just hanging out. It has over 2.2 million views. This is just a horse hanging out for 2 minutes, not doing anything except fooling around. That's
So
how much of a
cute.
sensation he became because of this game and his history. I mean,
He's
look, most
crazy.
people would have just stopped there and moved on to a different topic.
Gold chip breeding records. That is an insane dub to have a breeding record.
But not with me, you won't. Goldchip's personality wouldn't just end with him being a diva. He would also be one of the most successful breeders, with a successful mating rate of 99.1%, having over 500 children.
500 kids? How's he gonna send them all to college?
With a few of them becoming absolute champions. In fact, according to some staff, after he would finish mating with a mare, she would then refuse to mate with anyone else but Goldchip. That's just
Dang, rent free. They love that carrot. Oh my God.
how good he is, man. But I guess it also explains why he enjoyed it so much.
He
He
got
would
horse
swing his
riz.
cucumber from side to side because of how excited he was. Okay.
I see it in my head. Ah, damn it, I'm going to jail. I don't want to see that.
Okay, I know this is like a ridiculous amount of detail, but people look into this. That's how obsessed they are with Goldchip. This isn't just because he was skilled or a massive diva. He was a rage bait.
He's doing that thing my dog does where he looks around and the minute he stares at you and starts blinking, you should probably be scared. I think he has the zoomies.
Like the whole 12 billion yen incident, but also the fact that his trainers realized that, wait a
Aw,
second,
I'm gonna pet
in his
him.
retirement,
Come
he's
here.
running even faster than he used to run back when he was still a racehorse, making them realize that he never used his full potential while being
Aw.
a racehorse, almost as if on purpose to spite his trainers. This made people realize that horses aren't just creatures that we share a special connection with. They also
Yeah.
have many unique and diverse personalities. Most people have a
Cute.
hard time seeing that though, because we don't really interact with horses that much anymore. So turning them into anime horse girls with proper world building around them made us finally appreciate their very deep and valuable personalities.
Aw.
And no one received more appreciation than the horse Haru Urara. You see, when she was young, she would go unsold at an
Aw,
auction.
she's so
Seeing that no one wanted
cute.
to buy her, she was entrusted to the cheapest race course to run in Japan. Her trainers thought that this would be a good chance for her to maybe win since she had a hard time training. But then she went on to lose 113 races in a row, never
That's why I relate. She's a loser, but she still tries.
winning once. However, when she had lost her 87th race in a row, the race announcer, Koji Hashiguchi, would be absolutely shocked at this statistic. He was like, dude, this like never happens. Most horses would have given up by now. They would have retired. So he sent her racing record to national media outlets thinking, dude, this is insane. Like, you got to talk about this. And
Yeah.
they did, which made her ridiculously famous. People started going in droves to where she raced, the Kochi race course.
Aw.
The wives of the jockeys, the people who rode the horses, took advantage of this and started making merchandise.
I know that people don't like when I explain things before the video gets to it, but I don't know if he's going to. I did see on Twitter that a little while ago, she won her first race that was against a bunch of other retired horses. That is so nice. I'm so happy for her.
And get this. At a certain point, people would go to this race course just to bet on Haru Urara, knowing very well that they were going to lose, but they would love that because then they'd use that betting ticket as a protective charm for car accidents. They believed that it held special powers.
Oh my God, I get in accidents every week living in Florida. What? I didn't know this could happen.
Bro, you understand what I'm talking about here? This horse had superstitions made around it. I mean, this was such a big boom that Haru Urara had single-handedly saved the Kochi racecourse from going bankrupt. They were able to pay off all their debts thanks to her. And today, as you can see, Haru Urara is painted on the side here.
Aww.
That's how much of a legend she is. Seeing that she's in the game of Umamusume Pretty Derby, this prompted both Japanese and global players to select her to try and give her the win that she so very deserved in real life.
And I love her story. Like, I won't spoilers it in case you play it, but I cried. I'm pretty sure it's in my VOD on the gaming channel. I love her.
Making her one of the most popular characters in the game. This renewed attention from the global audience with their love for Haru Urara eventually allowed them to find out that they can send gifts to her in her retirement because she's still alive. They could send her some premium ryegrass directly. They
Aww.
sent 2.7 tons of ryegrass. Usually one person could buy $40 worth, which is 5 kilograms. But people crashed the donation website, and now we're sitting at 2.7 tons.
That's
this is an
a
image
lot.
of this little cutie receiving her
Aww.
gifts, and it's prompted people to draw fan art of this phenomenon. I mean, look at how much ryegrass is in front of her. She has enough food until the end times. 2.7
That's
tons,
awesome.
You're insane. In fact, thanks to this game and its renewed attention on these horses and their accomplishments, many of them who are now in retirement are receiving many donations, able to
Aww.
fully enjoy their older years. This is because this game didn't just make a lot of money and renew interest in horse racing, but it has single-handedly revitalized the entire horse racing industry globally, specifically in Japan. In the world of horse racing,
Wow, that's a
sometimes,
pretty horse.
unfortunately,
Mwah.
race horses are not able to retire. This can happen for a number of reasons.
You're wrong for that one. You are wrong for that one. My God, he's eating Haru Urara.
But usually it's because there's not enough funding. Back when this game released in Japan, it fueled a movement of people donating to many of these famous retired horses, ensuring that they not only live a good life, but that they can continue to live in general. But retirement isn't fun if you just have money. It's also nice when you meet people, when you still
I feel like I would be bored if I was retired, like playing checkers all day.
interact socially. Many of these retired racehorses started receiving visitors, so much so that Umamusume had to release an official guideline on how to visit stables and what to do in order to be respectful. For famous horses such as Haru Urara or Goldship, visits sell out immediately as soon as
Yeah.
they're posted. This
I think like Haru Urara is like on a pretty small farm in like Chiba or something like that. So you have to make reservations ahead of time. And I was thinking about making a reservation when I go back to Japan because I think it would be fun.
has led some crazy, ridiculous fans to sneak onto the stable grounds sometimes just to see the horses, with Cygames completely denouncing that and saying you shouldn't do that, stop. But that wasn't all. Cygames was making a lot of money from this game, and they
Yeah.
understood that there's a mutual benefit here. If horse racing thrives, they thrive too. And so the president of cyber agents, Susumu Fujita, has
Hi,
become
Susumu.
a high roller when it comes to buying expensive horses and raising them for races.
Dang! He said give my girl in the game now. That's pretty smart.
Always being one of the leading buyers when it comes to horse auctions in Japan. So
Wow.
far, he has spent easily over $10 million making up his own fleet of racehorses.
10 million for his own horse harem? That's insane.
And he's not planning on stopping anytime soon. But this isn't just about Japan. This is about horse racing globally. In May of this year, they
Honestly, I just thought about it. 10 million for him is like basically nothing, right? Like they are making so much money. It's like getting a McChicken. I think it's the second time I brought up the McChicken this video. I don't know why.
had announced a partnership with the 151st Kentucky Derby, the most watched and most attended horse race in the United
Wow.
States, taking place
Is the Kentucky Derby bigger than like the horse racing in Japan? I actually have no idea. How does it like scale? How does the Kentucky Derby power scale?
since the year 1875.
Oh, but they would like that you you wear funny hats. I think Japanese people would like that.
And you had this anime girl horse racing game being their biggest sponsor. This also extends to Paris. As you saw in the intro, they're not just sponsoring the Grand Prix de Paris, but they're the main...
Whoa, wait a second. He got a little fancy with that. Pinky's out. Wow, he really went hard on that. I want to hear it again.
As you saw in the intro, they're not just sponsoring the Grand Prix de Paris, but...
Wow, someone played Expedition 33.
They're the main sponsor. And I mean, look, if you show me an image of horse racing, I probably would think, oh, cool. But if I was a young person and saw a post...
Oh, he's French? Oh. Oui. I don't know any French. Wait, what's the one word they taught me? Oh, putain, something like that. I don't know. Piton, just stand on it. Putain is like, I hate you. I don't know.
Poster like this, I think, whoa, whatever this is, I want this. Where can I get tickets? It's an extremely mutually beneficial partnership. Additionally, racehorsing merchandise has had a boom in Japan ever since the game had come out, truly turning this into an animal idol industry. These dolls, for example, they sell out like crazy. It's actually very hard to get them, especially if you're outside of Asia.
They're
actually,
so
I think
cute.
they're keychains, but you get the point. Cygames was essentially making a lot of money from this, but they were using it for good things, making this industry a better place, helping treat retired horses even better, and in general being a positive force in the community. This reminds me how at some point Hoyoverse, the creators of Genshin Impact, had invested in a nuclear fusion reactor.
Is this real? What the hell?
And in 2024, it became operational. Who would have thought that?
They really did that? They're printing money so much that they just got bored and made a nuclear reactor?
You spending money on characters in a gacha game was going to end up somehow in a nuclear fusion reactor in Singapore. Overall, this industry is revived. It's back. Audiences now feature women, young people,
Oh no. Why did he say women with hate in his heart? I'm just kidding.
middle-aged people, demographics that horse racing usually wouldn't be able to reach. This has already been happening in Japan, and I'm sure it'll start happening globally thanks to this game.
Yeah.
I can't help but laugh when I say this, but it's true. This anime girl horse racing gacha game has somehow been able to single-handedly revive this entire sport while somehow making the world a better place. It's crazy, but it's where we are today. I hope I was able to explain why this game took over the world and why it's continuing to, and I really appreciate you watching until the end. This is a fairly different video from what I usually do on my channel, but hey, I figured it would be fun. Now, the sponsor does want me to end this video with a message, so before I'll do that, I'll thank you again, say that I love you, and mwah, see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, you can get 100,000 Civil Lions, premium vehicles, 7 days premium account, and much more if you're a returning player that hasn't played for over 6 months, or if you're a new player in War Thunder. This applies to both PC and console. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment to download it for free today.
What? I just insulted my Haru Urara. Doom. That was a great video. I feel like I learned a lot. I was taking notes in my brain and now I'm never gonna forget. Basically, don't loot the horses. And have a good day. I think that was it. Also, if you got it this far in the video, put a horse emoji in the comments. That'd be awesome. Have a great day. Remember, code Berry 10% off GG subs. Yes. Have a good day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye bye.
And here lives a truly extraordinary species.